Okay, so let's read the question again. The National Environment Agency reported that Singapore produced 786 million kg of food waste. Oh wow, that's quite a lot. And then the total population in Singapore was 5.45 million at that point in time, I suppose, at 2015. So part A, calculate the number of bowls of food wasted per day. Now they ask for bowls of food, number of bowls of food. So we have to actually look at the picture to realize, okay, that there is a way of them. There's a way for them to calculate, right? So okay, if you look at the brochure on the advert, it's like 2015 Singapore generated that amount of waste, and then it says 786 million kg, and then it says it translates to equivalent to, so the word in the middle there is actually equivalent to, so it says it's equivalent to 2 bowls of food per person per day. So calculate the number of bowls of food wasted per day. Now, 2 bowls of food per person per day. There are 5.45 million people. So how many bowls are wasted? Let me just write down here. Okay, total number of bowls is equal to 5.45 million. If you remember, your standard form, million is times 10 to the power of 6. Okay, so 5.45 times 10 to the power of 6, you times 2 bowls of food per person. So 5.45 times 2, you should have 10.9 times 10 to the power of 6 bowls of food. Now you can also write this as 10.9 million, I'm sure. I don't think there's a problem with that. Okay, so you can write either 10 to the power of 6 or write million. That's not an issue. So that's the total number of bowls that were wasted per person, by the whole Singapore. And actually, wait, did I make a mistake? Calculate the number of bowls of food wasted per day in 2015. Isn't it just 2? I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. This is the first time I'm looking at this question. So if I look at the diagram, it says 2 bowls of food per person per day. So I guess it's just 2 bowls. Oh no, wait, per day. No, I'm right. So this one per day. Okay, so total number of bowls, sorry, per person, 5.45 million. Okay, so I times 2, I get 10.9 million. That's number of bowls per day. Okay, so per day. That's it. Okay, good. Sorry, I was confused about a bit. Okay, part B. Find the mass of food in kg in each bowl. Right. So I have a total of 786 million kg. That was all the waste generated in 2015. Now, 2015 is not a leap year, so it has 365 days in that year. I probably should calculate one day, how much waste is being generated for each day, and then take that amount, divide by the number of bowls that I've calculated, which is 10.9 million. Okay, so let's do that. I have 786 million, so waste per day should be 786 times 10 to the power of 6, that's 786 million. Then I divide by 365 days in that year. Okay, so 786 divided by 365, I get 2.1534 ... times 10 to the power of 6. So this is not an exact value. Okay, there are quite a lot of decimals. Just make sure you write at least 5 digits. Okay, so 2.1534 million kg. This is the amount of waste that was generated per day in 2015. They want to find the mass of food in each bowl. There are 10.9 million bowls in that day. So let's write down mass of food in each bowl. Now, like I said, I have 2.1534 times 10 to the power of 6 kg worth of waste, and divided over 10.9 times 10 to the power of 6 bowls in each day, right? So if I do this, please don't use mental sum. You can just use calculator. But if you want, you can cancel away the 10 to the power of 6 because they are connected by multiply. Okay, so if I divide by 10.9 million, I actually get 0.19756 kg per bowl. okay, per bowl. This is the mass of the food per bowl. They want it in kg, so I have it in kg. Now I just need to round this off to 3SF because it is not an exact answer. So 0.198 kg per bowl. Okay, so this is rounded off to 3SF. Okay, so far I hope I have not confused you. Okay, I got confused myself, so I hope that I didn't confuse you further. Okay, but if you are able to follow so far, that's good. Now we look at part C. Part C is only 3 marks. So this question, right, total only 5 marks. For a PRWC, that is actually very little, very little points given. But let's look at part C. It says in 2016, the food waste reduction campaign, they initiated to encourage every person to reduce the waste by 100 gram daily. Now, it says that the campaign hoped to achieve a percentage decrease of food wastage of 20%. Determine if the campaign was successful, explain your answer. Actually, for part C, when I read the question like that, I would say that I cannot tell. So there are a few factors as to why I cannot tell whether or not the campaign is successful. Number one, they aim to encourage them to reduce by 100 gram daily, but were they successful in doing that in the first place? We don't know, but we're going to assume that they did. Okay, we're going to assume that they did. Now, the second factor was, did the population change? Right? Between 2015 and 2016, I'm sure more people were born, and I'm also sure some people died. Now, the population might have changed in that time. We do not have the number, we do not have the population number for 2016, not given in the question. So again, we do not know that. But what we're going to do is we're going to assume that population didn't change. Now, when it comes to calculating things with the real world context, right, when there's a short of data, it is okay to make assumptions. So that is why, right, you notice that the keyword here was to ask you to determine and then ask you to explain. Because at every step of your working, if you don't have a number and you are using something else that you assume it to be, you have to actually tell them that I'm assuming that population stays the same. I'm also assuming that everyone did cut the waste by 10%, that 100 gram daily. Okay, if that is okay, then part C, I'm just going to create my subheaders for now. This is a 3-mark question. I don't think we want to make the calculation too complicated. So let's just start with the assumptions. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to write down is what I am assuming. I am assuming, number one, that population in 2016 is the same as 2015. So that's my first assumption. I'm going to write that down to let my examiner know. Number two, I'm going to assume that campaign successfully encouraged people, encourage, so there should be a D there, successfully encourage people to cut waste by 100 gram per day, daily. The objective of this 3-mark question is for you to go through the calculation, and at the end of your calculation, tell them, did it really decrease by 20%? Okay, that was the objective. Did it really decrease by 20%? So let's go to our very first header, waste generated in 2016. Now, the waste generated in 2016, remember we have assumed that they have cut by 100 gram daily. So if they are cut by 100 gram daily, then the population staying the same would suggest that I take 786 million and I minus away however much was being reduced. Okay, so the very first working inside this subheader would be waste decreased or reduced, sorry, I think reduced is the better word, waste reduced per person in a year, right? In a year, it would have been 100 times 365 days. That would be 36500 gram, but I want to calculate this in terms of kg, so I'm going to divide by 1000 to make it 36.5 kg. So that's the waste reduced per person. That means total waste reduced. Now that would have been 36.5 kg multiplied by the total population, which I assume to have stayed the same. 5.45 times 10 to the power of 6. Again, 10 to the power of 6 is just one, it's just the numerical way of writing the word million. Okay, you could write million here. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just prefer the standard form. Okay, calculation, give me a while. 36.5 times 5.45. Okay, so I get 198.925 million. So times 10 to the power 6. This is all in kg. This is the total waste that was being reduced in 2016. Now the question on it, I realized I didn't show you the question as I was explaining earlier on. So I'm just going to quickly go through this. Okay, so I have calculated by assuming that they did cut 100 gram daily. I assume that we still have the same number of people in Singapore, right? Now, this 786 million was the number for 2015. I would like to achieve, okay, so here I would like to achieve a percentage decrease of 20%. So if I can calculate the 20% and I compare to the value I just calculated, then I will know whether or not they are successful in actually lowering it by 20%. Okay, so determine if it was successful. So now with the value of 386, so maybe I need to create a subheader called target for campaign. So the target for this campaign bracket is 20% decrease. A 20% decrease would have been 20% of 786 million times 10 to the power of 6. 20% of that number is 157.2 million kg. So let me just write it in standard form. This is the target. So at this point, right, I show you, this is my working, right? I have calculated that if the campaign was successful in reducing consumption by 100 grams per person per day, then I would have reduced the waste that year by 198.925 million kg. The target was to have it decrease by only this amount, 157.2, which is less than the amount that I managed to reduce. So was the campaign successful? Yes. Based on my assumption, the campaign was successful. So like I said, 3-mark question, don't need to write too many workings, just write a conclusion here. Therefore, the campaign was successful. There is the keyword of explaining your answer, right? So I want to just add in one extra line. The campaign was successful since the amount that we reduced, which is 198.925 million kg, is more than, so I'm using the more than sign, 157.2 million kg. Okay, so because I was able to reduce more than what I targeted, my campaign is therefore successful. And that's it. Okay, and I think that's it. Like I said, if I had not made any careless mistakes or if I were not confused, then this definitely would have been the correct way to approach this question. Yeah. So yeah, other than that, I think that's it. I'm going to end the recording for now, but I just want to end something. I want to add on something, which is that this is the first PRWC that we have done in the last today and yesterday, where you see I actually wrote down a header for assumptions. Now, the previous PRWCs that we did actually didn't have, doesn't require us to make any assumptions. However, if you recall, right, last year for your prelim, okay, and also last year for your mid-year exam, the PRWC questions that I set for those two papers, okay, one of them is the mobile phone usage one, the one where I asked you to make some assumption, and then after that, you know, choose the correct plan or the plan that is better for Mr. Lee, right? That, if you recall, when I was going through the paper after the exam, I actually also actively wrote down the assumptions that I have to make. And in fact, in that question, the question itself even stated you must write down the assumptions that you have made. So for this question, right, this PRWC number 10, the question in nowhere in the question did it say state your assumptions. But when you are doing your calculation, a lot of times you realize that you may not have the proper information. And in those cases, when you realize that, it is better for you to write out your assumptions so that the examiners have no choice. They cannot penalize you, right? They have to accept your working because you made that assumption. Now, this is an advice to you, which is that when you do PRWC for your prelim, for your actual eventual O level, if there are some things that you don't know and you can't find out a way to figure it out from the question, whether or not it's there doesn't matter. You write it out as an assumption. You're going to assume that it is like that. Then you do the rest of the calculation. At least when you do it that way, the examiners will look at your answer in totality. They will not penalize you for not knowing how to calculate certain stuff. They will just say, okay, this person assumed it like that. I'm going to assess the rest of the argument based on this assumption that they have made. Okay, right, stopping the recording now.